When people ask me, what's your hobby? I say, reading my law books, or watching programs on law. So you either you have to have it or not. Because I've had girls who've come in and they've gone away. They haven't taken to trial law. The atmosphere, the district course, the course where you practice, it's a different planet altogether. I mean, if you guys come there, you'll say, "Oh my God, what are we doing over here?" It's a totally different planet. So either you take to it or you don't. Talat, you must remember there was this girl, Shazi. She joined on one flight and then she disappeared because she said, "This is
Yes.
not meant." You remember that? You were
Yes.
there, I think. At the,
Yeah. Yeah.
you either take to it or you don't.
Mm.
But yes, it does. It is. I read somewhere that law is the second most sleep deprived profession in the world, which I'll vouch for. I'll vouch for that. You're awake till 3 o'clock in the morning because you've got a brief in the, and suddenly you get a call at 3 o'clock in the morning that I please post my bail tomorrow, or I've got to invoke the writ of jurisdiction. I don't think we'll just get into the work. Having said all that, I wouldn't want my life to be any different. I just love my profession.
Thank you, Jamila. Talat, over to you.
Okay, so clearly, apart from all the other skills, energy is a huge one, right? You need to have energy, a lot of energy. You're standing on your feet, you're up all night reading, so there's obviously a lot of energy you need as well.
Yeah,
Um,
Jared, to interrupt you. This is one profession where gray hair is an asset.
yes, yes, having gray hair is definitely an asset. You're so right. So even in this
Yeah,
day and age where everything is about young people, I think for lawyers, for doctors, the gray hair really helps. Um,
yeah.
okay, on to our third question, Jamila, and this is where we just want to get a little bit of in-depth from you. What are the three, four, five facts, laws, things that you see every day that, that women don't know or men don't know, or that are their rights, whether it's around divorce, child custody, hak meher, marriage contract, something around that. What are those four or five things that you see every day that you're like, God, guys, you need to really sit up and understand your rights? So what would those be? What would you want people to
Yeah,
know?
it's a very good question, Talat. I did, for the government of Pakistan, the UNDP, I did a series of workshops in the urban, rural areas of Islamabad, and I was supposed to enlighten the women on their rights. So, of course, one has to be a bit sneaky, and I knew that these people would succumb more to the religious aspects. So I took the Quran with me. I said, I just want, and I really wanted that. I'm just telling you your rights in the Quran because the Quran gives more rights to women than to men. I said, and anyway, I was horrified. I mean, those women were so savvy. They took out these little what they call shoppers, and they had receipts of the daughters, the dowry they'd given the daughters, the beds and all that. And then I did a 3 year research of my on my own, just calmly, and I realized the most ignorant. I'm talking about Pakistan, is the educated working class woman. She does not know her rights. I actually had a girl with a master's degree asking me what's the difference between khula and bari. I mean,
Ola and Bari.
khula is bari, the
Yeah,
clothes that are brought together.
yeah,
There is no nexus between the two.
yes.
Ignorance is appalling. So I sort of wrote off to a lot of schools and colleges and women's organizations in Islamabad saying, I don't want any money from you. I just want ears and I want a rostrum and a mic. The only people who invited me for that, and I went into, wrote to co-education colleges as well because there are boys there. They should know their sisters' rights and they'll have daughters tomorrow. There's a naval colony people, navy people. They called me, and I gave them a very sort of empowering lecture. And I thought, God, now they're empowered. Now, when the Q&A came in, and all they wanted to know is, if my husband dies, how much will my mother-in-law inherit from his wealth? That's all they were interested in. Here I'm telling them, give your daughter the right of divorce. This is how the hak meher should be. This is what it is. The things that all they wanted to know what they can get. So I was so disgusted. Basically, a lot of women don't know their rights. Like, let's start with the nikah nama. The nikah nama, they say, hak meher, they say, according to the Sharia, 32 rupees. That is totally incorrect. The hakmer has to be according to the socio-economic status of the man.
Right.
And the Pathans in Peshawar, in the KPK, they do that. They'll always get the dot. They'll have land put into the name, or they'll have phenomenal amount. You see, Hakmer is basically a girl's security in case the husband dies or in case of divorce.
Right.
Okay? Nabi said 32 rupees. That is incorrect. That should not be. Please remember, tomorrow your girls will be getting married. It should be according to the socioeconomic status of the boy, not that of the father. However, the father can promise, the boy can promise that any money that any wealth he inherits or money inherits from his father on his death, 50% of that will be my wife's share. That can go into the hak meher.
Okay.
This is one thing. The second thing is they never write. There's a column that says, "Is any maintenance being decided?" And to say that now maintenance of woman's religious right, Islamic right, a Sharia right, no maintenance is managed written there. Although maintenance is like it's pocket money basically for the woman, and nobody, not her children, not her husband, they don't have a right over that money. Nothing of that is written. They ask, has the husband delegated the right of divorce to his wife? They say, oh God, how can you talk about divorce at a time like this? Please don't do that. Get your daughter's right of divorce because she can indeed go to the court and get her marriage dissolved on grounds of khula, but for that she will have to forfeit her dower amount.
Yeah.
Barring in the Punjab, which is recent amendment since last year, they said, okay, the law says, Islamic law says, the Qazi will decide the amount of quantum of hak to be returned to the girl. So they do, Punjab has done that, the 50%, 25%, depending on the years they've spent together. But none of the other provinces or the federal capital. So please, and yes, if she wants to get out of the marriage, she can. But if she has a right of divorce, she can. Takes exactly the same time, 90 days. She gets a hak meher, and whatever the husband has given to her during the subsistence of the marriage, she will get all of that. Because basically, it's the man's right. He's giving it to the woman. So when a woman writes a divorce deed, she writes, "I divorce myself."
Okay.
She doesn't write, "I divorce him." Another thing is that you see in khula, if the husband during the subsistence of the marriage has bought her an apartment or a plot of land, that will be termed zare khula. She'll have to return that as well. So get your daughters the right of divorce. In the nikahnaama, please, I beg you, do not write so much gold given to the girl. Because in our culture, we know a lot of people where the girl gets married, she comes home, and the mother-in-law says, "Give me the gold." Okay.
Mm.
In the nikahnaama, it's been written down, the gold has been given. But the mother-in-law has it, and the courts may know it, but they can't do anything about it because the nikahnaama has the sanctity of being a registered document, and the presumption of truth is attached to documents, a registered document. So
Okay.
don't put gold in there. And also remember, whatever gold your daughter gets from her in-laws as gifts from you, that is her property. She doesn't have to ever return it to him. That is, of course, if you got the right to divorce for the girl.
Jamila, what
So
about child custody in the time of a divorce? I think for a man, this is an important topic. They say
it's a very important topic.
के लिए
You see,
puberty.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. Where you guys are, they do go with the law, 7 years boy, girl at puberty. But unfortunately, in Pakistan, the predominant consideration is not the age of the child, notwithstanding the Sharia, it is the welfare of the minor.
Mm.
In 1987, I love these words. The Supreme Court said, "A mother's lap is God's natural cradle." So always preference is given to the mothers. I have gotten custody of 14-year-old boys for the mother. Okay.
Okay.
And now it's more and more they're going to the preference of the child as well. If the child is beyond the age of hizanat, you know about hizanat. A boy is in the age of hizanat till the age of 7, and a girl till she becomes a pubert. Now that is the preferential right of custody is the mother's. The father can claim the child's hizanat after 7, or the girl after she has matured, but 9 times out of 10 he doesn't get it. He gets a good visitation. And I'm not, by the way, I'm not a man hater. I'm not a misandrist. I think what women do is they brainwash the children into hating their fathers. Don't do that. You're teaching your children to hate. I always tell my clients, he's the father for God's sake. He's not going to harm them. Let him spend weekends with him. And he's not a cash cow. They want lakhs of money in maintenance, but they're brainwashing the children against the father. I don't think that's right. And vice versa. Men shouldn't do it either.